Um, Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for attending the webinar today. My name is Joe Texera. I'm the product manager here at MuxLab. And I also have Eliran Asaraf, who's one of our developers on our team for the Digital Signage project. Today, we're going to be doing a webinar on digital signage. It's one of our latest offerings in digital signage. We're going to start by, it's going to be divided into two parts. We're going to do a short presentation portion just to introduce you to the product. And then we're going to be doing a live demonstration of the product so that you can see how easy it is to create content and also to schedule and publish content to the players. So we're going to get started. I welcome you to ask any questions during the presentation if you like. Please keep yourself muted, but if you want to ask any questions, you can go ahead and stop me at any time and ask your question. I'm going to do one last unmute of everybody, just in case anyone just joined, and I'm going to start the presentation now. Great. So one quick intro slide, and then we're going to get right into the presentation. This is just for anyone who's not familiar with MuxLab. So MuxLab's been around for quite a few years. We've been in business for over 35 years. We're based in Montreal, Canada, but we sell globally, and we have people representing us at different parts of the world. And we sell primarily through distribution, our focus is primarily in the Pro AV and broadcast markets, and we specialize as well in over IP, signage, and streaming products. Those are our most recent lines. All of our development team is based here in Montreal. We've got over 400 man-years of experience in AV. And what that means is our developers are here. So if ever you have questions, we also have a technical support team here in-house. So they're able to help you. And if they need help themselves, they've got access to all the engineers and developers who worked on the actual projects. So what that means for you is that when you ask questions through our support team, you'll be able to get help right away, pretty much. The products that we've been developing, we've worked towards getting a reputation of having high quality products. We work very hard to maintain that, and we offer excellent warranties on our products. The warranties, by the way, are very simple. We offer a 3-year warranty on over IP and signage. We offer a 2-year warranty on our standard Pro AV products, and lifetime warranty on our passive products. So the 2-year warranties on our active products for both Pro AV and broadcast. So we're going to get right into the presentation. The signage solution that we have consists of 2 main steps that users would follow to be able to create signage and to publish signage. And that's done by working in a workspace that you're going to see a live demo of how to create content, and then you schedule the content out. And as you schedule, you automatically publish the content to the players, and the players then run autonomously on their own. You don't actually need the creation software to run the signage itself. Once it's sent to the player runs all by itself. So it consists of the signage software and the player. So we'll start with the signage software itself. We call it DigiSign Plus CMS, Content Management System. That's just a standard term for signage software. Our DigiSign Plus software supports multi-format video files, image files, and audio files. We support HTML5, RSS feeds, and many other widgets such as clocks, weather widgets, stock widgets, RSS, Instagram feeds, things like that. So it allows you to create content and organize it in a very simple and streamlined way. And today, because we're going to be doing a demonstration, you'll see just how easy it is to do. It supports a scheduler that allows you to schedule content out throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the year, in fact. You'll see how the scheduler works. It's going to be very familiar to you when you look at it. because it looks like an Outlook calendar, for example. But instead of creating in an Outlook calendar, you would create meetings between a certain time and a certain time. In this case, you don't create meetings. You take slides that you've created or playlists that you've created and place them in time periods, and you can duplicate them throughout the week. You can duplicate them throughout the year, just like you would with an Outlook calendar. So you have a repeat function and things like that to very quickly be able to create content for the entire day, for the entire week, and the entire year, in fact. The Signage software supports virtual windows that you create on a canvas. And basically that's supporting what's called a multi-view function. So you can create virtual windows, you can size them the way you want. The windows can overlap each other. You can actually have windows within windows, so picture in picture. And what you see as you're creating is what you're going to get in the final result. And again, you're going to see that in the live demo portion. With that, I'm going to, and of course, it's compatible with our signage player, which is a 4K signage player, which I'm about to talk about in a second. So this signage player actually supports dual 4K windows. So you can create the virtual windows in the software, and this player will support multi-window views on a single screen that you've created with the software itself. And we can support actually dual 4K 60 windows and multiple 1080p windows, full high def windows that you basically have being played out throughout the day, in offering you very crisp and high quality images and audio and video images. So in addition to that, the player itself supports 128 gig of internal memory. So once you publish or once you create the schedule and you automatically publish content to the player will load that all the playlists, all the slides that you create, and the content within the slides will be stored on the player itself, including the schedule, and then it will run autonomously throughout an entire year, if you like, without having to go back to the CMS software to manage the player. The player is also compatible with a local cloud and a public cloud that we're developing currently, which I'll also talk about. But it can run on its own in smaller installations, so that you can basically send the content to it and forget about it, and it'll run on its own. So the local cloud and public cloud. So we're developing a local cloud that's going to be available before the end of the year. It's a hardware device that you purchase once. There are no monthly fees for this. You purchase the local cloud, you install it at a given site, and it will manage all of the players that you have at that site. So rather than sending schedules to individual players, you would send it to the local cloud, and the local cloud would then manage the distribution of the content to the individual players. So this is a better solution for customers who have multiple players at a given site. If you have a larger number of players and you don't want to manage any granularity of individual players, you can do it with local cloud, and that's good for the larger sites. We're also going to be developing a public cloud service, which will be available early next year, in the first quarter. And this is for, yet again, even larger installations. So more for global installations where you have players spread out throughout the globe, and you want to be able to manage all the different sites in a very quick way, especially if content is being replicated in many different locations. You could just send it to the public cloud, and that public cloud will then manage the distribution of the content to the individual players, similar to the local cloud, but it does it globally. So you can have your players anywhere you want in the world, and it'll be managed simply by the public cloud. One final note about the local cloud. I mentioned it has internal memory of 128 gig, but it also has USB ports to allow you to connect external USB hard drives. So you can, for example, connect a 4 terabyte hard drive to this device and be able to send a lot of content for all of the different players that you have on a given site to run autonomously. So that comprises the four components of the system. The local cloud, as I mentioned, you pay for it once, and there are no monthly fees, but the public cloud is a subscribable service, so you would pay on a monthly basis to have access to the public cloud. With respect to the software comes in two flavors. There's a Lite version of the DigiSign Plus software and a Pro version. The Lite version is free. It will support a limited number of users and players. So it's good for folks that have a couple of players in a given site and that's all they need. It's a smaller installation. You can just download the software and use it for free. But for sites that are larger that maybe would prefer to use a local cloud or public cloud, and they have a larger number of players at a given site, and they also want to have a larger number of users to manage the system, then you would go with the Pro version, and the Pro version is a subscribable version. It's a paid version, and it costs $7.99 US per month. So it's not expensive, but it allows you to work in much larger installations and work with the cloud-based systems where you'd have multiple units to manage. The Pro version is available with a free trial for 60 days, so you can try it, and if you like it, you can then subscribe. And if you don't like it, you can fall back to the Lite version and continue using it as a Lite version. But it's an excellent way to be able to try out the software, and I really encourage you to do the download and try it out. It doesn't cost you anything. And you'll be able to do all the capabilities that the software offers you, and try it out for yourself. This is just a quick slide for anyone who's less familiar with digital signage. I mean, essentially today, you find digital signage pretty much everywhere. This is just a short list of places where you would normally see digital signage: in airports, for example, train stations, bus stations, subway stations, corporate offices and lobbies and in conference rooms, giving you schedules throughout the day for the conference room, or in the lobby showing you general advertising for corporations. Same thing in hotels. You can have that in individual halls or in the lobbies of the hotels, museums, etc., pretty much anywhere. Hospital, dentist offices. If you go to a dentist office nowadays, you tend to see screens in there advertising the different services that they offer. Same thing for sports bars, restaurants, schools at all levels, retail stores and malls. Definitely go into a mall or into different boutiques, clothes boutiques, shoe boutiques. You're going to see digital signage pretty much everywhere there. Government offices and military as well. They can also be, and also signage is pretty much anywhere you go. I mean, if you've gone to airports prior to COVID, you will have seen signage all over the place where they advertise, arrivals and departures. But in addition to that, they also have sub windows, virtual windows, where they show local duty-free advertising and local restaurant advertising, etc. So it's pretty much everywhere, and it continues to grow. And it's expected to keep growing over the next 10 years in leaps and bounds each and every year. So it's available in entertainment, anywhere where you need to do ads. You do it through digital signage rather than the old-fashioned way with cardboard posters. In events, you see signage a lot, and it's also good to generate alerts. So if you have signage in an airport, if something happens, something unfortunately happens at an airport, you can automatically interrupt the current signage and send other signage to the different displays to alert folks about what to do, maybe how to go into a certain direction and leave, point folks towards exits and things like that. So it can be used for alert purposes and many others. So just to give you a feel for some of the examples I just spoke about. So here in an airport, generally in airports, you have a mix of signage and over IP devices. The signage is the content that you see on the screens. So it's the source material. And the over IP devices are the devices that help you to distribute the audio video signals from the signage players to various locations throughout the airport. and that supports individual TVs, and it also supports multi-view windows, and it also supports video walls. So large groupings of TVs that create very large walls. You often see those in airports just next to the duty-free. So all the ads would run on the different screens, providing you with the typical information you would get at airports, like arrivals, departures, and advertising. You see it also in sports bars, especially in North America. I think in Europe, we see them as well, maybe to a lesser extent, where you would see, in sports bars, you would have video walls, and you would have individual TVs spread out throughout the restaurant bar, and you'd be able to play different sports content on the different screens, along with advertising. So you would have virtual windows with sports and other virtual windows on the same screen, showing ads for the restaurant, specials on beer and things like that, happy hour, etc. And of course, retail is another one that you see a lot of. It goes without saying that you walk into a boutique nowadays, whether it's in a mall or individual boutique within a city, you'll see digital advertising on the front window often, and also within the store. So again, you might have a mix of individual TVs and video walls to do that. So it's pretty much everywhere. I'm going to start now with a quick overview of the screens that you're going to see on the player, and then we're going to jump right into the actual live demo where you're going to see the product in action. So of course we offer security on our software. So when you first come in, you have to log into it, and basically we support username and passwords, and also we support roles. So as you create users, you also assign roles to the users. Roles are access rights, allowing you to do certain things and not allowing you to do other things. So by default, the software comes with two roles, administrator and operator, but we also support custom roles. So users can create additional roles and call it what they like, such as supervisor, technician, guest, and you can, and you can very easily create the roles that you want for your specific needs. It becomes very, very flexible and powerful for you as an operator, especially in larger organizations. You can have multiple people having access, each one doing various functions, and limited to those functions based on the roles you assign to them and the roles that you custom develop. We also support slides. So we're going to look now at all of the individual menus when you come into the software. So we support the capability to create slides and playlists. That's one of the core functions of the product. So from here, you create individual slides and playlists. Playlists are a grouping of slides. So you can create individual slides, and then you can create a playlist, which is a grouping of a sequence of slides within a playlist. So later when you go to schedule them, you can schedule individual slides, and you can schedule playlists, which is sort of like a macro command, if you will, of slides. And within the slides, of course, as I mentioned before, you can have videos in there, image files, audio files, HTML, RSS feeds, Instagram feeds, and a whole bunch of widgets, which we're going to show you in the live demo portion, which include clocks, weather widgets, stocks, exchange rates, maps. There's a whole bunch of them, and more will be coming as we enhance the software. We also support custom codes and to allow you to take more control of the system. So essentially, you create your content in the slides section, and then you go to the scheduler where you basically publish your content. So you schedule out your content. Again, you're going to see an example of it, but it basically looks like an Outlook calendar. You're going to create your schedules by adding content to the individual time slots on a given day. You can replicate that throughout the week. You can duplicate it throughout the entire year, and you can basically add slides and playlists to your schedule, and you can edit it at any time, make changes to it, and save it. Once you save it, you're automatically publishing the content to either the players directly, or to the local cloud or public cloud if you use those options as well. And the cloud services will be the ones responsible for distributing to the individual devices. In the Schedule 2, we allow for groups of units, so you can group units together. So you can see here on this slide here, you've got unit control and unit groups that you can send content to. So when you create a group of units, they actually work like one unit. So when you call up a group, you're actually affecting every unit underneath that group that's been assigned to that group. So if I create a schedule for a group, I'm creating a schedule for all the units within that group. So it's a very simple and quick way to send content to individual units within a group if they're all going to be playing the same content, spread out throughout an airport, for example, or any facility. The next menu item are the units themselves. So this is where you manage the individual units. So here you would discover the individual player units, configure them if you need to. You can do firmware updates to the individual devices, but your day-to-day tasks would be to either create groups of units. So as I mentioned before, you can manage individual units or groups of units, and assign these groups so that you can later manage them either directly from the software or through the local and public cloud. Then there's the user menu. Here's where you would create additional users. So the administrator would be the one allowed to do that. They could create additional users and they can assign roles. In other words, assign access rights to the users they're creating. And keep in mind, as I mentioned before, you can actually create custom roles. So you can assign new roles that you create yourself. The way it works is very simple in the software. You basically create a new role, give it a name, and then you're provided with a list of functions that are available within the software with a little box next to it. So you just tick the boxes you want for that role to give them access to those functions and save it. Simple as that. And then when you create a new user, you can assign that new role to them or any one of the roles that you've created or the default roles, which is administrator and operator. So it's very simple to use. And of course, you can add users, recover lost passwords for users, things like that. It's all administrative tasks for the individual users. And then last menu item is the settings. And here you could you can set languages and you can do some setup configuration for this CMS software itself, but there's not a lot of setup to do. So it's pretty straightforward. So next, we're going to fall onto the portion of the presentation where we're going to be doing a live presentation. So I'm going to be transferring control to my colleague. Give me a second here. Okay, Ellie, I've transferred control to you.
Okay, hi Joe, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Hey guys, so this is the live demo part of the show. We're going to be showing you a few usages of the CMS and to give you a better idea of how it works. So over here on the slides page, we already have a few slides created. I'm going to go ahead and create a new slide over here. So right off the start, they gave us a few templates already built for us to help us use it, but we're going to go ahead and click a new template. So the way it's arranged is on the left side over here, we have all our widgets that we could just drag. Over here, we have the canvas. So the way it works is you just simply drag the widget on the canvas and it works. So just to give you a quick overview, we have text, images, videos, we have maps, RSS feeds, weather, Instagram, countdown. We have a lot of widgets with more on the way. And of course, we're always open to more opinions. If you guys have any recommendations, it's always super easy for us to add. Or if you guys are more tech savvy, there's always the custom code where you could write your own code here or copy some embedded code. And you can even add your JavaScript and the CSS for the more tech-savvy people. So this thing is very flexible. So I'm just going to show you here how it works. So I'm going to drag in a text. You just drag it here. And as you can see, this panel over here changes to settings after we add something. And this is the settings to control the widget. So over here, it's a text. So we have font families, font size, colors. So I'm going to adjust the font size just like that super easily. Could change the background color. We have a lot of options. We're not going to get into it. Change the font family, just like that. And to add another widget, you just go over here to the add content, and you're back with all your widgets. Now I'm going to bring in an image for a background. You could easily choose a file. And what happens here is when you have this checked, this file, this image is going to be saved to our local library, so we could easily access it later. Here, so when you see, what you see is that when we bring in a new item, it goes over the widgets that were previously pasted. So what we could do is bring it to front easily with a tab over here that we have move to help us move, but you could of course just grab it. Bring to front, which is what I'm going to show you right now, to easily get in front. Another cool feature that we have is fill. And now we have a background super easily. So I'm going to move the text over here. And I'm going to change the color to white so it's more easily legible. You see here we have a wide array of colors. Virtually any colors could be selected. This is the same for the background. We could change it. It has a very wide range of customizability. Okay. And another cool feature is clone. So when you clone, it clones with all the previous settings so that you don't have to redo it a few times. So this works for images, for videos, anything you want. I'm just going to enter some text. There. I'm going to add another element now. I'm going to bring in another image, which for now it could be an ad. This could be an advertisement, for instance. Easily resize it. There. Now I'm going to add a video. Just go over the video and drag and drop it. And it lands exactly where you put it. Easily reposition it. So for video, we could include a local file. But another cool feature that we have is you could include a stream directly from sources like YouTube or Vimeo. So I'm just going to go and copy a link and paste it over here, and it loads it automatically. And then we have a few options here. Captions, I'm going to take that off. Autoplay and loop, I'll leave that on. And I'll mute it. There. But now we see that the video is kind of hiding our image. You could kind of see the outline over here. Behind there's a blue outline to show you exactly where your image is. So I'm just going to go here and click bring to front so that it's not hiding anymore. And resize it a bit. And just like that, we're perfectly aligned. Now might be a good time to point out our competitors. I don't know if you guys have used any of them, but a lot of them, the way they work is that first you need to arrange the slide and then compile it, and then it gives you an overview of how the slide looks. Whereas over here, we're working with a live feed of the way it's going to look. This is essentially a preview, and you could edit it on the go. We're going to add another thing. I'm just going to make it bigger. Over here, we have an option to make the editor take up the whole screen so it's easier to edit. I'm going to add an RSS feed. Position here. I'm going to change the background color just so that it's easier to read. And the way the RSS feed works is the same thing as YouTube or even images, is that it takes in a stream. So you just paste in the link over here and it automatically fetches it. Now we get other options like speed, refresh rate, Not going to go into that now because we have a lot of options for every single widget. We're going to leave it with the default settings. I'm going to reposition it. Just like that, we have a nice RSS feed, cutting clean over here. I'm going to reposition my text. And I'm going to add in the last widget, and that's going to be the weather widget, which automatically detects your location and gives us a lot of information on your location. Over here in the settings tab, you could change it to Celsius. You could change the country and city automatically if you want. Show city name. I'm going to get rid of the extra data because we don't need that for our purpose right now. Resize it. And we're done. Just like that, you have a beautiful slide. You could click preview. And now we could see that we have a slide made in minutes. Super easy to use, super user-friendly. If you ever want to change anything, you don't have to recompile it every time. You know exactly what it's going to look like. On the canvas, you could see a live preview, so it's super user-friendly. You could always edit it. If you make a mistake, you move this, like, for example, by accident, you just undo. So that's a big advantage that we have over our competitors. So I'm just going to go ahead and save that. Okay. Now I'm going to create another one, but this time I'm going to use a template. So we have a bunch of templates here. It's worth mentioning as well that there are a few more on their way. We're going to have well over 10 templates, and you could create your own templates as well. You could easily save something as template and then re-customize it and reselect it anytime. So this is a template that we selected earlier, today's combos. As you can see, all these, they're all widgets that we place. So you could see them getting highlighted, and you could move them super easily. Okay, back. And I could change it. I would just double click it, go to my library, and just like that, I changed it. Same thing with the text. And my daily combo is updated. I could just save it. And we're done. I'm going to show you one last template that we use. We have a slideshow here. It shows you the slides that we have. You could easily add new slides, easily change any text that you see. This is a clock widget, displays the current time. And this is an RSS feed. Just going to update the RSS feed. And that's it. Now I'm done. If you're not sure, you want to see what it looks like, you could click the preview, and it'll give you an idea of what it's going to look like, once it's being played. So now I'm going to go to the schedules page. Oh, sorry. First, I want to show you how to make a playlist. Super easily, just new playlist. You select what you want. I'm going to make a breakfast playlist. So I'm going to pick my today's combo and the one with the RSS and save. Give it a name. And just like that, we'll have a playlist. And you could easily rearrange the order that you wanted to play in, or you could add other slides into your playlist. So now I have two playlists, one breakfast, one supper that I made. Sorry, one supper that I made earlier. Okay. Now that you guys have an idea of how slides work, I'm going to go to the schedules page to give you an idea of how to add it. So over here, I have my units. These are the units that I have. So I'm just going to pick one. Keep in mind, you could just as easily edit all of them at the same time by making a unit group. But for today, I'm just going to show you just one unit. I'm going to pick a unit. So here we have our schedule page. Like Joe mentioned earlier, it looks exactly like any other popular calendar, like Outlook, and stuff like that. You could see month view. You could see the daily view. I'm going to be working in the weekly view because it's easier for me. I'm going to zoom out. And I'm just going to click wherever I want. And this allows me to select how I want my event to be played. So I'm gonna make an event for breakfast. So I'm gonna make it start at 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. I'm going to select what I want to play. I have my slides over here and my playlists. I'm going to choose breakfast. So now I have from 9 to 1 breakfast. Now I could repeat event to make it even easier for me. Like Joe mentioned, we have monthly repeats, we have weekly repeats, we have daily repeats. I could make it happen every day. I could change it to every 2 days. But we have an option for every workday. So this thing is really flexible. You can really achieve any sort of result very easily. You can make it end after how many occurrences or by date. I'm going to leave it for now. Save. Just like that, I have my breakfast set for the week. Now I'm going to set something for after breakfast between 1 and 5. I'm going to set the Welcome to Montreal slide that we made and put a repeat every workday. Like that. And supper, same thing, daily. I'm going to put every workday between 5 and 8. Select playlist, supper. And just like that, we have a schedule made in minutes, super easily. It's also worth mentioning that this is it uses the same technology as the editor, so we're able to even copy paste with the keyboard shortcuts. I'm going to copy the Welcome to Montreal and paste it. Sorry. Like that. You could move it around super easily. I could just put it like that and resize it. If I want to be more, accurate on my decision, this is 9. I'm going to put it all the way till the end of the day. And same thing here. Super easily. And this thing is a pleasure to use. And save. And just like that, we have a schedule made with a playlist of slides and slides made in minutes. So this is really a nice advancement and upgrade compared to the other signages that I've been using before. And this concludes my live demo. I'm going to pass you over back to Joe.
Great. Thank you, Eliran. So just one final comment. When Eliran hit the save button, he actually also sent the content to the player. So he published it. Basically that content was sent to the player, and the player would start executing the schedule right away, instantly. So that's how easy it is to use. We spent a lot of energy and effort to make it as simple as possible. And as you saw in the demonstration, it is very easy to use. Basically, we hope that you're going to like it. As I mentioned, we're offering a free trial on our website for the Pro version. I would invite everybody to go to the site and feel free to download it and give it a try. We really think you'll like it. At this point, I invite you to ask any questions you may have. I believe I've opened up the forum to questions right now. So go ahead, and if you have any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer them.